Welcome to Relaxed Reddit Readings. Today we have 3 Reddit stories for you. Reddit stories that will make you question everything. Story 1. My wife's strange jar collection nearly hurt our son. So my wife has been collecting empty glass jars for 8 years, and I finally threw them all away. Now she's furious, but hear me out. My wife collects every single empty jar that comes into our house. Pasta sauce jars, pickle jars, jam jars, you name it. She says they're for memories, but here's the thing, she never actually puts anything in them. They just sit there collecting dust on our kitchen counters, window sills, and shelves. We're talking about 40 empty jars just taking over our home. I've asked her multiple times what memories she's planning to put in them, and she always says she'll get to it eventually. But it's been years, and nothing. Last week was the final straw. Our 5-year-old son was trying to grab one of the jars to keep some insects he'd caught, and it fell and shattered. Glass went everywhere. Thank God he wasn't seriously hurt, but it scared the hell out of me seeing my kid surrounded by broken glass. That night, I told my wife we needed to do something about these jars. They were becoming a safety hazard, and honestly, they were making our house look like we were hoarding. She got defensive and said I didn't understand the sentimental value, but what sentimental value? They're empty. I gave her a week to either fill them with these so-called memories or get rid of them. A week passed, and surprise, nothing happened. So while she was at work, I gathered up all 40 jars and threw them in the recycling bin. When she came home and saw what I'd done, she absolutely lost it. She started crying, saying I had no right to throw away her things and that I destroyed years of potential memories. She called me heartless and said I didn't respect her feelings. But I'm thinking, what about my feelings? What about our son's safety? What about having a functional living space? She's been giving me the cold shoulder for days now, and her sister called me an asshole for not being more understanding. But honestly, I feel like I was more than patient. 8 years of empty jars sitting around our house, and I gave her a full week's notice to do something with them. Now she's acting like I threw away family heirlooms when they were literally just empty containers. Her friends are saying I should have found a compromise, but what compromise is there with someone who won't even explain what these jars are supposed to be for? I'm starting to wonder if this is about something deeper than just jars. Maybe it's some kind of anxiety or control issue, but she won't talk to me about it. Am I really the bad guy here for prioritizing our child's safety over my wife's unexplained jar obsession? If you're enjoying these stories, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which story you relate to the most. Story 2. I kept funeral cash back money for myself. I kept the cash back from my father's funeral expenses, and now my siblings are calling me greedy. This is such a weird situation to be in, but here we are. Last year, my father passed away, and my siblings and I had to split the cost of his burial 4 ways. It was expensive, and we all agreed to contribute equally. They sent me their portions of the money, and I put the entire cost on my credit card since it was easier than trying to coordinate multiple payments. Now, I use a cash-back credit card for literally everything because I like the rewards and the fraud protection. With the funeral expenses being so high, I ended up earning about $140 in cash back from that purchase. At the time, I didn't even think about it. I was grieving, dealing with funeral arrangements, and honestly, the cash back was the last thing on my mind. Fast forward to this weekend. We were all hanging out and somehow got into talking about finances and money management. I was explaining how I put everything on my credit card to maximize cash back rewards, and I mentioned how it even helped offset some unexpected expenses like Dad's funeral. That's when my brother asked what I meant, and I explained about the cash back I earned. Suddenly, the whole mood changed. My siblings started saying that money should be split 4 ways just like the original expense was. They're arguing that since they contributed to the cost, they should get their share of any rewards or benefits that came from it. I tried explaining that the cash back came from my credit card, my account, and that it was basically a benefit of me having good credit and choosing to put it on my card in the first place. If they had wanted to use their own cards, they could have, but it would have been way more complicated for the funeral home. But they're not seeing it that way. They think I'm being greedy and taking advantage of a family tragedy. One of my sisters even said I was profiting off Dad's death, which honestly really hurt. That's not what this is about at all. My other brother said that since we split everything else related to the funeral, this should be split too. But here's what I don't understand: I took on the responsibility of handling the payment, I use my credit, and I deal with paying off that credit card bill. If something had gone wrong with the payment or if there had been fraud issues, that would have been my problem to deal with, not theirs. The cash back is literally a reward from the credit card company for being a customer in good standing. It's not like I found money in Dad's pocket that I'm keeping for myself. This is a benefit that came from my financial decisions and my creditworthiness. They're saying it's about principle and that family should share everything, but I think there's a difference between sharing inheritance or actual belongings and sharing credit card rewards. If I bought them all dinner and got cash back, would I owe them a portion of that too? I'm starting to wonder if I'm being too stubborn about this, but it just feels like they're trying to retroactively change the rules of our arrangement. What do you think? Should credit card rewards from shared expenses be shared too? Story 3. My roommate's setup was so bad I bailed that morning. I backed out of signing a lease the morning we were supposed to commit, and now 3 girls hate my guts. So I was supposed to move in with these 3 other girls I knew from college. We'd been planning this for months, looking at houses, discussing budgets, the whole thing. They found this place and were really excited about it, and honestly, it seemed perfect at first. The 3 of them claimed the upstairs bedrooms, which was fine because they said I'd get the downstairs room with my own bathroom. Sounded like a fair deal, maybe even better since I'd have more privacy. But here's where things started getting weird. When I talked to the landlord directly to ask some questions about my room, I found out the bathroom wasn't actually attached to my bedroom like the girls had told me. It was just in the common area downstairs. So basically, anyone could use what they were calling my bathroom. That was strike 1, but I figured I could live with it. Then I found out the washer and dryer were going to be in my bedroom. Not near my room, not in a closet attached to my room, literally inside my bedroom. That meant anytime someone wanted to do laundry, they'd have to come into my private space. Imagine trying to sleep and someone decides they need to start a load at 11 p.m., or you're getting dressed and someone just walks in because they need to switch their clothes to the dryer. The more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't going to work. My room was basically going to be the house utility room that I happened to sleep in. I'd have no privacy, constant noise from the machines, and people coming and going at all hours. Plus, I was paying the same rent as everyone else for what was essentially the basement utility room while they got actual bedrooms with privacy. I tried talking to the girls about it, suggesting maybe we could adjust the rent split since my situation was pretty different from theirs, but they didn't want to hear it. They said I was being dramatic and that it wouldn't be that bad. Easy for them to say when they'd be sleeping peacefully upstairs while I'm listening to the spin cycle all night. The night before we were supposed to sign the lease, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how miserable I'd be living there, how I'd never have any privacy or quiet time. I realized I was about to commit to a year of being completely uncomfortable in what was supposed to be my home. So that morning, I texted the group and said I was out. I know it was last minute, and I know it screwed up their plans, but I just couldn't go through with it. They were furious. They said I was selfish and irresponsible, and that I'd wasted their time. They had to scramble to find a new 4th person or figure out if they could afford the place with just the 3 of them. I felt bad about the timing, but I also felt like they'd been pretty misleading about what my living situation would actually be like. Was I supposed to just suffer through a terrible living arrangement for a year because backing out would inconvenience them? Am I wrong for prioritizing my own comfort and privacy over their convenience? If you enjoyed these stories, drop a comment telling me which one was your favorite. And if you want more relaxed Reddit readings, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, like, comment and subscribe for more relaxed Reddit readings.